Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I appreciate you being here. Injury report, knock on wood, we've been very fortunate to stay fairly healthy. I think everybody around the country has bumps and bruises now, but certainly we've been fortunate. Darius White last Wednesday pulled his other groin, strained his groin on the other side. And the guy's never been hurt before ever, and so obviously he's frustrated. And he's a less than 50% chance of playing. That's why depth-wise we have him as doubtful, because that's kind of where we see him. So is it possible? Yes, but he'll have to make quite a turnaround in order to do it. And certainly we have to also take in consideration that we have a bye the next week, and we'll two weeks of help get him 100% healthy to play at the end of the season. So that's something that we have to look at. As we speak, we're preparing for the Kentucky game. It's a big football game, certainly. They all are right now. We're in November. We know the importance of that, and they're really a good football team. They're playing really well. Quarterback's very, very impressive. Sophomore does a lot of great things, and they're playing good defense. And when you play good defense and your quarterback's playing well, you can have a lot of success, and that's what they're having right now. So a big game in the zoo. I'd like to thank all the fans, Mizzou fans, students, alumni that were out last week. The Tiger Stripe was a great success. I had a panoramic view down the field, and it was very, very impressive. And so I talk about team players and everybody jumping on the bandwagon to do the right thing and be part of the family here, and it was awesome. So very appreciative of that, and I'm sure it'll be tradition now for forever now. We'll have a Tiger Stripe Day. So anyway, thanks to all the fans for all those things.
Have you gotten any clarity on the Anthony Sherrill's hit? Did you send it to the league?
We sent it to the league. We'll get it back tomorrow morning where it's at. We kind of looked at it. It was kind of, there's there was two parts to that. The first is the interference with the punt, and there's a yard space in front of the punter, and you can't be in that yard and give him an opportunity to field it. It's not like a receiver. You can just wait, be this close to him, then hit a receiver right when he touches the ball. And we try to use it as a learning tool for all our guys that are covering on punts. And so, Anthony tried to time it up right, and he just didn't do it. But young player that made a mistake. The other is targeting, and again, it looked real close. I've had a lot of people say that. So we'll get an overview and get their opinion of it. And bottom line is, like I said after the game, we're into protecting kids playing college football and high school football and so on. So we just want to get it right and do the right thing.
How important is confidence for Maddie right now, and did he get some from the last game?
Oh yeah, I don't think he ever lost his confidence. I don't want to blow that's blown way out of proportion. I think that he certainly did some good things throughout the game. Made a lot of plays. Thought he did some things. We could have thrown 5 or 6 more completions easily, but it was a route. It was a drop. It was not a good throw. It was, protection, and that's, you got 6 more completions on your numbers of your throws, and that's just execution. So that's where we're working in practice to get better at. But obviously did some really good things, made some big plays like he's been making in the past. Great big-time throw, protection. I mean, that ball could be one spot on that field to have a chance to catch it, and then Bud Sasser makes a great catch. So in a pressure-packed moment. So I thought he did a lot of good things, and we're just going to continue as we were last week and the week before, trying to get better.
I know it depends on the coverage sometimes, but just when he's able to run around a little bit, whether it's a designed run or scrambling, does that seem to kind of lift him up and just lift the whole offense up?
Well, that's natural. I mean, he does that quite a bit. But I thought he did a really good job of stepping up in the pocket a few times, really good too. So I think we're making progress there. Just like the quarterback in Kentucky runs the ball really well, and a lot of it's not planned. He just takes off and goes in the right spot, and that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the defense. But I think Maddie's always made plays with his feet. So I think when he had that one quarterback draw, he bounced it out on a blitz, and went down to about the 20-yard line, and then threw a touchdown pass the next play. I thought, big plays ignite players and offenses and defenses, and you got to make plays, and that provides tremendous momentum. And that's really the only way I know to gain momentum is making plays. And so the more plays we make, the better we'll be and the better we'll execute.
What about Braylon Webb? And he seems like he had a few chances to make plays earlier in the season, maybe some interceptions he dropped, but these last couple of weeks
Braylon's doing a lot. Braylon is he's like a coach back there. I mean, he's been back there so often. He's always accountable. He's always reliable. He's a really good athlete. He makes plays. He's a good leader. Certainly by example. And And so it's nice to see him make some plays. And, we won the turnover. We didn't turn the ball over at all on offense. They had most all long fields for our defense, which is good. And we got a key turnover to get out of a drive around the 35-yard line. So it was a plus. And Braylon's, like you said, been making a lot of good plays.
You guys ran it about twice as much as you passed on Saturday. You think that's maybe the right fit for this offense in a competitive game?
I don't know. I think we're going to have to look at game by game, but I certainly think that was the offensive staff's kind of the plan going in to try to run the ball a little bit more, and then throw off of that and get that established a little bit. Try to get more short third down situations. We were much better on third down, but we like to throw the ball downfield. We like to be vertical. We like to do all those things. But I think you adjust accordingly to kind of how you're playing. And I thought it was a real good game plan for what we were trying to get. Now what's going to be in the future, I don't know. But to have two players that both rushed over 80 yards, I believe, I think that's pretty good. Also, Maddie's running too, so I think that really helped us.
You mentioned the third downs, and is it as simple as doing a better job in first and second down and getting to more manageable third downs? Because you guys had been 0 of 8, I think.
Well, statistically, if you look at it, they could give you national statistics on 3rd and 1 and 2, 3rd and 3 to 5, 7 to 9, and +9, and the percentage decrease as you go. So I think whether it's Missouri or it's anybody, they decrease. Sometimes you get a football team that gets 3rd and 8s, and they just for some reason they got a knack for getting them. Maybe that's confidence, maybe that's a lot of different things. But I think that's something that you look at. Obviously, you don't want 0 plays, you don't want incompletes, and you don't want 1-yard gains, because it makes the next down that much more. So I think there's a lot of things that reads into it, but you also don't want to the point where you're going 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, and you have to sustain drives without making any big plays. And I think that we're aware of that. But I thought Josh and the offensive staff did a good job in design, and this week will present different problems.
You guys are still last in the league in committing penalties, but past couple of weeks, what's kind of your message to this team to kind of bring that number?
The same thing I told you before. It's discipline. It's focus. You're going to have some penalties. You're going to do it, but you want a minimal. And obviously 100 yards and 15 isn't very good. And so, like anything else, we've been here before. You don't like to be here. You want everything to work out perfect. It doesn't. I'm responsible for that. And so, that's kind of the message. And obviously, you always watch for anything in practice that players are doing wrong. So we kind of police our players. If you got an offensive line that's holding all the time, their offensive line coach has got to make sure he doesn't hold. So I think you have to, not like everything in practice is all fine. If a player is doing something wrong or jumps off sides, we have a discipline thing that happens there. If an offensive lineman moves in practice, we put more sound into practices than we've ever been before. But as I mentioned before, we had an offensive line, the same one that played in that game, that we didn't have. And I point to the South Carolina game. And we didn't have one problem in that South Carolina game. I think very few against Florida, in a remarkably loud situation. And so, why did it work one and why the other? That's why I would suggest mental toughness, discipline, and focus. And there's nothing magical about that. We've always been you can give me the exact numbers when you guys figure it out. But I'd say we've always been the top 25% of least penalized team. But that's inexcusable. That's inexcusable. That makes everything much more difficult.
With the offsides penalties specifically, could you tell if Vanderbilt was doing anything like cadences or anything to try to lure them offside?
Yeah, there's some things there, but again, that's something we can help them with a little bit. But again, our defense does that too, so we don't have excuses. So I don't care what happens.
What did you think of Matt Hope's play on Saturday?
Excuse me?
Matt Hope, what did you think of his play?
I thought he did a lot of good things. He had maybe one of his most productive games. Did really, really well inside there. Yeah. Lucas Vincent did some good things. Josh Augusta did some good things. So, but that was one of his best games. And it's neat to see that because he's worked very, very hard here, and he's also shouldn't even say this, but he's been healthy for 4 straight weeks, which is in the last 3 years. And so I think you start playing with more confidence. You also play more consistently. You're playing more on the field, and so now we're starting to see a little bit of what he's capable because he's healthy.
Is it nice to get back in the win column at home after a couple?
Yeah, there's no question. The zoo is a great place to play. So we got SEC Nation here this week. That's going to be real big, and we want our fans there at 8 o'clock to start video and things like that. I think it goes to 11. But our students, I know, will do a great job there. That's, they go to one location every week during the season. Again, the first year doing this, and it's kind of the University of Missouri's shot at showing how great Mizzou is. And it's not only great for our football program, but it's great for the University of Missouri. And so, hopefully our fans will get out there and do what they do and make a great showing.
Watching Kentucky, what do you credit their turnaround season to?
That's what I said before. I think they're playing. They're really improved defensively, and they got good skilled people, and their quarterback's playing. Now he's really playing well. Very, very impressed. A big guy that can run like he does is it's unusual, but you got to watch him, because he goes well for a guy who weighs 235 pounds. So that's generally what happens. If your defense starts playing better and you got a quarterback, that position's producing. Again, there's a lot of people around him make plays. Then you're gonna play better, and that's what you see. And Mark Stoops has done a really good job.
Do you think that kind of caught your team and the rest of the SEC by surprise and all the success they've had?
I don't know. Nothing surprises me in this league. There's a lot of great teams in this league. It's a great league to be a part of.
Quarterback threw for a lot of yards. He also got sacked 6 times. Do you see something you can take advantage there?
Well, I think so. I think a lot depends upon kind of where a game is, or where that kind of presents itself. The score in the game has a lot to do with maybe what your offensive game plan was, and all of a sudden you have to get away from it for whatever reasons. So there's a lot of things that happen, throughout a game that you have to kind of do. So, we just got great respect for them, and again, it's about us playing, and I think we can play better. I don't think we've played our best game yet, and. So that's our challenge to get that done. I know I keep saying it, but it's true, and that's my job.
Nate Brown looks like his role kind of expanded with Darius out. Have you just seen more from him in practice lately?
Yeah, he's getting better. Lawrence Lee's doing a lot of good things too. Those 2 freshmen, but Nate, we got him more involved a little bit. He's doing good things on kicking game. You can just see him get a lot better in practice. Jason Reese, a young tight end, he's doing some good things. They're playing a little bit more. That's just weeks and weeks of practice, and we're going to need those guys to step it up a little bit. So that's kind of the injury is difficult on the person that gets hurt, but it's also provides opportunities for others. And we're just trying to. It's just a receiver is just a difficult position to learn, and again, tight end's got to do both. He's got to do the outside things and inside, and just a lot of things, and just not like it used to go to a post route, an out route, an in route, and it's all over. Or drag route, that's what you do. I mean, it's just much more complex in the details, intention details of it. And then your quarterback's got to get the right read. So we're working hard all the time to improve that. But he's really doing a good job.
Coach, when you're facing a team looking for that 6th win like Kentucky is, what's the sort of desperation you feel from the opponent?
I don't ever look at what they're looking at. It doesn't matter. All I care about how we play. I have no control over anything that our opponent, and this is any opponent, any opponent I've ever coached against or on our schedule in the future. I don't ever look at what they have going for them or not going for them or things like that. All I care about us playing well, and I would like to think that our players would do that too, because that's how you play your best. That's the only way. You're wasted thinking about what they're doing or how they're going to play is making judgments. I think teams that make judgments play inconsistently, and we're not playing consistent enough. So, this is about us playing our best game. We're playing a good football team.
Coach, you mentioned you've been talking with Russell Hansbrough about when to kind of kick it outside, when to just maybe run vertically. Where do you feel like he's at in that development?
I thought he did really good. He ran much better inside, and he's finding out he's really powerful. He's a load. He's got great explosiveness. That one was one of the great effort plays I've seen by a running back. And the one where they didn't blow the whistle and the guys just kept going, and they shouldn't have. And he didn't stop, and he ended up gaining 10, 12 yards. And so, the touchdown drive, the one that drive that we had where he bounced it outside and scored, and they were piling up inside. That he did take it out in that one, and that was a good read by him. It wasn't. I'm just going to try to get outside. The read took him there, and so Brian Jones does a great job coaching those guys, and I thought he really ran hard. I thought Murph did too. I thought Murph did a lot of good things.
Are you still hopeful that Morgan Stewart can get back this year?
I'm hopeful, but I think it's doubtful. I think our big thing is we just got to get this thing healed. I'm like his dad. Like he's got a great father and mother, but I'm like the dad too. I want the guy to be healthy. So if we don't have him this year, we got a guy that I think can be a great player, not a good player, a great player, and we just need to get him healthy. And so we're working on that with our medical staff and going to look at some options. As soon as we know what those are, probably the next week we'll make that public and what we're going to do.
Given that, are you getting more comfortable with playing Ish perhaps earlier in games and maybe spelling?
Well, I got to tell you, I was looking down at a card that I have that I take on the field with me when we had that fourth and 1 or 3rd and 1, and I looked up and Ish was back there. I said, what's Ish doing in there at this particular time? This isn't like 2nd and 5, and both our running backs were just dinged a little bit. Something they weren't ready to go. And Brian Jones put him in, and he made that really nice run. So we're going to get more confidence with him. He's got great quickness. He's like our guys. They got great burst. They're quick. They got good hands, and so it was neat to see him go and do that. And so we'll certainly try to get him more plays than what he has.
Can it get to a point where perhaps he is a 2-back, and then you guys put Marcus in the slot for a couple?
Well, that's a possibility. We just have to see how far he comes. We have to kind of watch ourselves a little bit there too. You can't make him, and all of a sudden he's a guy with all this experience. He doesn't have a lot, so. I thought the 1-2 punch we did really well last week, rep-wise, with those two guys. So we'll see where it goes. But it was encouraging to see him when in a real important play, him make a football play, and that was good.
With the likelihood of more teams probably avoiding Marcus now in the return game, do you guys change anything up to try to create some opportunities back there, or trying to kick away?
Well, the first thing you want to do is you got to look at where you're getting the ball. So if it's a kickoff return and you're getting the ball out to the 35-yard line, it's still all about field position. And if you caught the ball, on the goal line and made it to the 35-yard line, that's a great return. So what it does, it takes the big play potential out for Murph. And we do that. We game plan it. Other people game plan it. They squib it, and squib means they just hit it low, and it goes real hard and bounces up. And hopefully, it takes a while to get it, and hopefully it doesn't get all the way back to the deep guy. But if it does, the timing has changed so much that allows guys to get by the blockers and so on. So, and then punts the same way. I mean, it's still about field position. So ultimately we're getting good field position, but we'll do anything we can to try to get him in position to make a catch and make a run. And what you got to do is probably get better at squibs and get better at bloops, we call them. There's real high ones that go to the 25-yard line. And get better at actually blocking them, so you can, instead of getting the ball to the 32, maybe we can get to the 38 or 40. So it's a good problem to have.
How valuable has Connor McGovern been as just a run blocker specifically since he moved to guard?
Well, I think the continuity has helped a little bit. It helped us a little bit inside, a little bit stronger inside. He's next to Evan right there, and he knows the offense real well. He can call the blocking assignments just like Evan can. So them working together like they did for 14 games last year, I think it's been good. And so, Taylor also has been overall doing well. He jumped offside a few times. Again, that's something we got to clean up. But every player in that field has had their issues or problems. So I think overall we're doing a lot of good things. We get tested each and every week, but I think that move has been pretty good for us overall.
Gary, I know no matter what the system is, this is the time of year where all the talk and everything starts to generate about the end of the season with these playoff rankings coming out and everything. Just what's your opinion of is this year going to be any different? The last few weeks, or the system in general, and how it's going to work and affect things over the next few weeks?
Yeah, it'll just be interesting to see where that goes. I mean, I guess it comes out tomorrow night, right? And I think it's great for college football. It'll be interesting to see how the selection. I'll be really interested in see how it is. Will strength of schedule be significant in it? That's my biggest concern is, and I think before that's what they didn't get. Bottom line is, can you look at the strength of schedule and the people they play and make the right decisions? And there's a lot of other things, but this is really the time to talk about it. This is November, for November, I was told the day I got here, I told players, those that win in November will be remembered. I tell players that all the time. And this is the time when it's about championships, and it's about bowl games, it's about finishing, it's about how good you want to be. I don't care where you are to this point, but how you're going to finish. And it's it's one game at a time. We got Kentucky here, and we got a bye week, and we got our next 3 games. So, it's a fun time. This is anticipated. On our calendar that we have, that we have hanging up in every room, mostly in this building, is our schedule. And on the schedule went up right when our players got back, and I show it to them, I review it to them right before spring football, and I review it to them in August. and November is marked different on it because this is when you finish, and this is ultimately the season you're going to ended up in November. So if you're a competitor, this should just fire you up. I mean, this is where you want to be, and this is the position you want to be. And so hopefully, I know I'm ready.
Do you consider third down the most important down?
What's that?
Consider third down the most important down?
Third down's the most important down? No, not necessarily. It keeps you on the field. I think it's obviously very important. I'd like to have all first down, second down score. So that's what I'd rather do. Okay? Thank you. Appreciate it.